Stan Gibilisco here, hailing from the black holes of Dakota Territory, United States of Adversaries. I would like to talk about a three-way war that I see going on. A war with actually three sides, each fighting the other two. I don't know if I've ever seen that in actual warfare. It's always been one side or the other. I've seen multiple participants, but this is a true three-sided war between science, religion, and politics. You mix any two of these, and you're bound to get yourself in trouble. Of course, going on YouTube and yammering the way I do, I'm bound to get myself in trouble sooner or later anyway. But when I made my video about Hurricane Patricia and global warming, not that that particular hurricane had anything to do with global warming, but you get some other suggested videos, and one of them was of our venerable old purveyor of wisdom, and I forget his name. That tells you how, number one, how important he is, or disimportant, and number two, what a senile old coot I've become. Rush Limbaugh. He was talking about a hurricane and saying that if it hit land, everybody would be talking about global warming, and if it didn't, nobody would be talking about global warming. Well, I talked about global warming and hurricanes, and I think that, number one, global warming is a real phenomenon because it's been observed and measured. As to whether humans have anything to do with it, and if so, how much, I offer no opinion. But I read a column recently, or quite a long article in a National Geographic issue called "The War on Science." Apparently, a lot of people would say that global warming does not exist, it's not occurring. There are people who still believe the earth is flat. And then there are people who differ with scientists on more subtle levels. For example, creation science, purveyed by the religious group, politicizing religion, talking about this or that religion being evil or good or whatever, talking about science, full of a bunch of overinflated egos who tell us that just because it's scientific, therefore it's absolute truth. Which isn't really, they're not really doing that, but they've been accused of it. And I suppose there are a few scientists that do, just like there are a few religious people who say that science is all bunk. A few politicians who say that both religion and science are integral. That's it, the opposite of the derivative, the integral or anti-derivative part of their pursuit. You have to have some religion and you have to have some science in with your politics. When you're talking religion, you have to have some politics in there, you got to have some science in there. Whenever you do that, whenever you mix these incompatible ingredients, you're going to get a very unpalatable result. And that is, of course, just my opinion. I'm not going to call myself a scientist. I'm not going to call myself a politician. And I'm not going to call myself a religious person either. I try to keep them apart, and I try not to dwell on any of them. Heck, I got a book project to finish, and I gotta try and stay alive to finish it. few prayers here now and then. No. But you see what I'm getting at? That every time something like a Hurricane Patricia occurs, you're going to get it politicized. Every time some religious fanatic does this or that, you're going to get it politicized. I don't think the scientists have a whole heck of a lot to say about religious fanatics, other than that, I don't know, I'm not going to even offer an opinion here, but I think that it's best for us if we try to keep these three pursuits apart from each other and view them as equally valid and equally invalid ways of evaluating and working with the world around us. There are things that science cannot explain, and yet they do happen. There are things that religion cannot explain, and yet it happens. And if there's ever anything that a politician can satisfactorily explain, then I got some really good property here on the ocean in Dakota Territory for sale at a really good price. Stan Gibilisco signing off, where it continues to be a dismal, abysmal night in the black holes. But it'll dry it out tomorrow when the wind reaches gale force and just parches everything in seconds. Until next time, so long.